What's up, dudes? Welcome back to another episode of Rhomas Men's Team. Pretty simple. We are a group of guys helping each other make progress towards each other's goals. If you're new to the channel, awesome and welcome. If you want to help support the channel and join our pro team, head over to rhomasteam.com/pro, where you can contribute to us on a donation basis. We also give you access to exclusive content, mastermind groups, etc., etc. So anyway, hope you enjoy this episode, and we'll see you on the team.
We're live, by the way.
Yeah, I love getting it right here.
Yeah, and ear pimples tough. Nose pimples are tough too.
Yeah, kind of like hurts so good.
Yeah, I hate that feeling. But yeah, I know what you mean. It's like when you have a sore tooth and you keep clenching it down.
Keep tonguing it. Yeah.
What's up, everybody? How you doing? Sorry, we're talking.
Oh, we literally are live?
Oh yeah, we were live. Yeah, we were live that whole time.
It's raw footage.
Brothers, I'm back from the beach, dude. I feel a little tired.
How
I was
was
like,
it, man?
It was fun. It was very fun. I was like sore because it was just nonstop activities. Like you go to the beach, I was skimboarding. We were playing paddleball. We had like the football catches. They have a ball now. I know maybe this has been around for a while. Matilda, please remove yourself. They have a ball that you throw and it bounces off the water. So you're just out in the water and you throw a ball and it hits the water and bounces up. It's really fun.
Oh, dude.
Doing that. We had some foot races. We had some sprints. So, dude, I was shattered how my whole body was so sore. So first night, we were having races on the beach. So we're sprinting. I'm skimboarding. We're just having a good time. And then the second day, that's when the football came out. We had some one-on-one pass drills. It was fun. It was funny, dude. The whole thing, man. So much fun. And yeah, it was like I got up the last day to leave. The muscles in my feet hurt. I was just like, oh.
Yeah.
And then I came home last night like, nice, I'll get some rest. And then Maya didn't sleep pretty much all night, and I was like, no.
Dude, I miss guy games, man.
It's fun.
I haven't played guy games in years, like literally years.
It's fun, dude. It's a lot of fun. Paddleball, come on, man. Playing paddleball, that was absolute blast. Yeah, the whole thing's fun. It's very fun to do stuff and move around and play games.
Dude, have you ever played pickleball?
No, I have not.
Next time you come out here, dude, we got to play pickleball. Pickleball is kind of like table tennis mixed with tennis.
Does it have to land on like a trampoline? Is that the idea of it?
No, it's basically like on a tennis court, like a miniature version of a tennis court. It is so fun. It is so fun, dude. It's like a nice mix of like a bar game with an actual sport.
That's fun. It kind of reminds me of Can Jam. Can Jam is also a fucking blast.
Yeah, I've heard. Can Jam. That's where the frisbee, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I love games like that. I love bago, cornhole.
Yeah, we're playing games. There's nothing but games. We played a lot of games. It was very fun. Right now, so this might interest you. So I'm in a, and anyone obviously, as always, dude, toss something in the mix, dude. We, anything popping up, anything on the mind, toss it in. But right now, here's the thing I'm dealing with right now, and you guys might find this kind of interesting or useful, is so I'm going to have to kind of figure something out for Matt and Shane's this month, almost for not the entire month, but for a lot of it. Shane's going to be in California. So I'm going to have to do I'm going to do stuff on Patreon. I've conceptualized the format of a solo show. And I've always been apprehensive about that, but I think that'll be a lot of fun. It'll be, again, just uncomfortable territory to kind of, push through and kind of redefine the limitations and discover stuff in the process. So it'll be fun. I'm actually really excited about it. The format, I don't want to spoil it, but I'll tell you guys, the format I'm going to do is it's going to be back and forth of just literally just talking about anything on my mind. It'll be almost like, what do they call that? Something of consciousness, I forget, but it'll just be like it just flowing, just talking about stuff, and then out of nowhere I'm going to be like taking callers, quote unquote, but I'm going to be calling people, just like random people. Stream of consciousness, thank you, Mike Gibbons. Calling random people and just asking them ridiculous questions that have nothing to do with what I'm talking about, and then just going back to talking about whatever I'm talking about. So I'm getting set up to record phone calls and do it, so I get decent audio. But I think it'll be a lot of fun. So that'll be an interesting process this month of figuring all that out. And I'm really focusing. September is going to be a lot. I'm gonna shift my focus to just putting out a ton of content for Matt and Shane's, and obviously getting my other stuff done. But that's gonna be like several hours a day, and like just see what that looks like. Just try it out. So
when you used to do prank phone calls in college, I thought those were hilarious.
Dude, you should. I don't think you ever heard. We did them when we started the Matt and Shane's, and they were so much fun. I have a couple of them recorded, and these will be like that, but it won't be as I'll be just bringing people on as if they're on a morning radio show, and they're gonna be like, "What?" And then just constantly. They're not gonna be as hostile. Mine, the original ones are. I was just like, they're wicked. But this will be fun. It'll be a lot more fun, but it'll be definitely confusing for people. So I'm interested.
My girlfriend's mom listens to the radio shows in the morning, and every once in a while, like I'll hear her listen to them. And some of their prank phone calls, man, like you can't help but get sucked into it. It's just so funny. And there's this one where this guy calls this woman, and he does the same theme kind of over and over again, different weeks. And the woman answers, and he just says something like, "Hi, how are you?" And he's like, "I just want to invite you." And then it goes to like this dramatic, like, John Cena's main event, like it's just like bah, 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 like just, it sounds ridiculous. It just sounds the person in there is like, what? And then he repeats it and does the same thing, and then by the fifth time she's like freaking out, like cursing all over the place. And then he calls her back and she picks up. He's like 4 times. It's just so funny. Obviously you have to listen to it, to something like that, but oh my god, so fucking funny.
Yeah, it is fun. It is fun too. The idea too is funny to just catch someone having like a normal day and just completely just put the weirdest thing on them as possible and have them just like, what? And then it's just kind of just get people. The idea is it's going to be to get people kind of just like out of their normal day and just encounter just some sort of thing that they're just like. And I don't want to like make them uncomfortable or like attack them, but just have them just be like, what is going on right now? So,
well, I've got to say my all-time favorite from you in college was. And guys, you got to keep in mind, I was just walking up the steps to we had our kitchen in our top floor in college, and I was walking up steps, and I didn't know that Matt was making a prank phone call. And by the way, he was by himself.
I used to do them by myself, yeah. That's how all the greats start, dude.
So literally, I hear him asking, I walk in just on the intro of it, and he's like, "Hi, I was calling about your kittens." And the lady's like, "Oh yeah, our cat just had a litter of kittens. I don't know, it was like 10 of them or whatever." And he's like, "Oh, okay, great." He's like, "How many pounds are each one of them?" And they're like, "Oh, about 2 pounds." And he's like, "Oh, okay, perfect." And he said, like, "Are they cute or something like that?" She's like, "Oh yeah, they're adorable." And then he's like, "Okay, can you hold on 1 second?" And he's like, "Hey Tim, how many pounds per meal does the snake eat?" And he's like, "Oh, okay." And then you get back on the phone and you're like, "We'll take all of them." It's just like, no way. Oh my god, good. It was so fucking funny.
It's good to have a goof. It's good to have a goof. But dude, how the hell are you, dude? That's what's on my plate right now. I'm spinning some other balls, which again, I'm trying to singularize my focus eventually, but for now, I am just a jack of all trades, and I've accepted that. Or I'm a jack of a few trades, I should say, not all. So I've accepted that, and I'm pushing through. How you doing, brother?
Good, man. I'm just like coming out of. I've got 2 more seminars coming up in 2 weeks, and then I've got a wedding next week. So I told myself at the beginning of this that, when I start doing the seminars and putting all that money into the business, blah blah blah. I was like, just get to November. That's now kind of just get to December-ish. Mm-hmm. Maybe even like late December, like basically now I'm looking at it's like just get to Thanksgiving, because everything is planned out in like kind of chaos basically up until then, and then I'll be able to kind of relax maybe for like a week or something like that. So I'm looking forward to that, but I'm also enjoying the process. It's been a crazy process, and I'm learning a lot about my own life philosophy. Like I told you, like I love business for the reason of like it forces you into these little crevices of life that you otherwise would not have been exposed to. And especially because I work in finance. So you start to label things. You start to say like, oh, that's a pattern. I love looking at life kind of like machinery. Like Ray Dalio says, like everything's a machine. Everything has a workable pattern. Just some things are more complex than others. So in finance and in business, you're kind of forced to notice some of those things that most things in life wouldn't force you into those nooks and crannies. Like price versus value. Value is what you get, price is what you pay. So in a business, like one of your first actions should be, how do you turn the business into a value-based decision rather than a price-based decision? So just very, very interesting. A lot of stuff that you and I talk about, but just in numerical and capitalism form.
That's pretty cool, man. That is pretty cool. And figuring out how to kind of package that and do that. And I really like the idea of like kind of having stuff you're doing take you into those little nooks and crannies of life you wouldn't have otherwise came across. And it's like, I think that's really well put. And it's also one of those things of like, they come off at first, at least for me, I was always kind of like hesitant around entering those kind of nooks and crannies. And now it starts to become like, they become kind of enriching. It's like exciting, getting nervous and being like, oh, there's this new thing and I get to do it. And like, again, I've said this before, but like, dude, those little things that you're convinced that you just are like, oh my God, that would just be too uncomfortable. 9 times out of 10, it's like the exact thing you kind of need to do.
Oh,
or
dude.
at least start the process of, going to do that. And it's like, it kind of just flips your whole script, because then you go, oh shit, what else am I kind of, artificially insulating myself against? Because it has this like crazy expansion, like it makes your life expand. You do a thing you're terrified of, again, something sensible. You obviously don't jump out of a plane if you don't know how to do that, but it's like the little things that you worry about, like, oh, what will I look like? It's like, dude, just do them, man. It's like, worst comes to worst, people just laugh at you. And it's like, whatever.
Yeah, well, and like for business, if you go on a path of volume, which I think is like the secret to everything, volume, that's my first question, everybody. If you're not doing as well as you think you are, like, are you doing the things that you should be doing at scale? So it doesn't make sense for us to have a conversation about you being bad at something if you've tried it 5 times. Like, do it 5,000 times and maybe then we can talk. By the way, I'm getting back in the guitar, and I don't know how you fucking people put your hands, like, I'm having a really tough time putting my hand on the guitar, on the neck of the guitar, so you like curl your wrist around and then curl your fingers around. But it's the same conversation myself. It's like, my brain wants to say, I suck at this. It's like, dude, you've done it literally 4 times. Like, that's how many times you've done it. Do it a couple extra 1,000 times, and then you can start to have a discussion. But the cool thing about business is that when you do it at scale and you're committed to a process, you have the same conversations over and over and over and over again. And then you start to, first you get frustrated, then you get bored, and then you get fascinated, because it's like, oh, okay. And then you detach your emotions from it. So you can start to see that there's very similar patterns, with like 5 different patterns that will play out with, let's say, a client. And you then are not scared of saying, okay, like, you're not interested in this. Why? Right? Like, walk me through why. What is holding you back? Or you're not saying emphatically yes. Why not? Like, what is going on in your mind? And then you have to make it non-judgmental, and you have to make it non-threatening to them, so they actually tell you the truth, because most people are not going to want to tell you the truth, because normal human communication doesn't have as much on the line, so you kind of break away. It's like, okay, see you later. But it's like, no, there was something there that you're not communicating, so let's get to it, because that's my paycheck, right? And it's your investment account that I could do better on. So there's something on the line, tangible, that I'm not willing to break away to say, oh yeah, like, have a nice day. It's like, let's go through why.
Yeah, man, dude, and I think that applies to like everything, to be honest.
Oh yeah. It's just what's on the line usually is not big enough, or at least not tangible enough for people to commit to like going to the depth of the conversation where you're actually going to make progress together.
Yeah, and you need to be kind of secure to do that, because it's like they might have something cooking up that you don't want to hear at all.
Yep.
And it's like, again, same thing with getting, and like all this stuff, I like what you're saying, because it all scales down to like anything. It's like applying to a job. Anyone can, that's something anyone can do. And it's like, again, how many did you apply to? I applied to like 5, and they all said no. It's like, that's nothing. It's like, that's literally nothing. Although I heard now.
That's basically 0.
Yeah, well, I heard the getting's good right now for jobs.
Definitely.
Like, it's my friend, Phil. He got a gig where he's like traveling. Did I tell you this? He's traveling around, like installing LED lights like across the country. People are like flying him out to do this.
Oh, wow.
And he's getting paid. This is what he's told me, at least. And he's apparently he's getting paid like decent money to go work for an electrical. And he said he's like, dude, I just been getting snapped up by companies. He was working as a project manager. And this is a dude who's had a rough road, dude. This guy's been in and out of jail. This dude's background check is flagged. So it's like, and he says it too.
It's
he's
just
like,
one big flag.
Yeah, it's skull and crossbones, dude.
Yeah,
so it's
really
like
is.
he's the best, man. But he he was telling me, he's like, dude, I was getting hired as a project manager. I didn't really like that. Jumped to another thing. He's like, trust me, I know I'm getting hired because of the way it is right now. People are just looking past all my bullshit, and they're like, yeah, man, we need people.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. I think at certain levels of jobs, and I don't say that judgmentally. Like there's certain levels of jobs right now where almost the majority of that workforce, I shouldn't say the majority, but a lot of that workforce was not going back to work because of stimulus checks.
Yes.
And because of unemployment. And I believe that runs out, I think, this weekend on Monday.
Does it really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well,
yeah, from my understanding.
Yeah, that's what it was. I've talked to a lot of people who are like, dude, I'm getting paid more now on unemployment than I did working. And it's like, okay, that's good for now. But again, you get yanked, you get pulled off that teat, bro. And it's like, what now? Also, Andrew Lincoln, dude, shout out, said he sent 47 applications to find his current gig.
Yep.
That's what I'm saying, dude. That's like, it's kind of how it goes.
Yeah, if you had to say, well, I was thinking about this last night because A-Link is a perfect example. If you had to say what are the attributes of the Rhomas team, what would you think, like, to boil it down to its simplest? I was thinking last night, like, ambitious men that are family-oriented. Is that a good synthesis? Yeah,
I would say that. I think that encapsulates some of it, and I think that's a very important part of it, at least. And the other thing too, I think, is just to tack onto that would just be the kind of like the value creation with kind of a detachment from outcome, if that makes sense. Not a total detachment from outcome, but being like value creation over outcome, and then kind of go something like that. I could be misrepresenting it, but there is something to like, let me create as much value as possible, and not just like, let me try to weasel my way into the best thing for myself at the expense of all else. It's like, and again, don't sell yourself short. That's not what this is about at all. But it's that like, but yeah. So to answer your question, yes, I think that stuff is all implied in what you're saying, because it's like if you're kind of family or value oriented, it's almost one and the same thing.
Yeah, it's something along the lines of like maybe like ambitious men committed to, producing value for themselves, their family, and the community. Something like that.
Holistic excellence.
Just set something to holistic performance and excellence. I think you're spot on. Yep, 100%.
So there's a thing. Holistic excellence is something that you don't really hear about a lot, because it's more like, oh, he's doing this, he's got that, he's got this, but it's like, run me down the let's say 7 dimensions of life. Or is that thing, those little personality tests you take, and one of them's like sucked in a little, is that a perfect spider web, or is that like a, does that look like Pac-Man? And it's like, why?
Yep. Oh, dude, did Ray just say he went from 150,000 in sales in a year to the same in a month, to the same in a week, to the same in a day? I'd be curious about that.
Yeah, man.
Ray, are you being serious about that? That's fucking awesome, man. Did that happen recently?
I believe so.
I'd be curious.
I don't think he's able to be pulled on right now. Okay. But yeah, that's
hell yeah, awesome.
Dude, that's fantastic, man.
Right,
that's
man.
fantastic. I mean, and Ray, I got to ask you too, like, the one good thing too when you're doing this kind of stuff is just bragging. If you're, let me say, Ray, I'm not lying. It won't let you on. I'm telling you, you got to get off and come back on. But
yeah, Ray did the same thing to me for some reason.
It's just acting so weird, man. It's really bothering me. But it's letting me pull everyone else on. But Ray is not allowed on, and Patty P. That's weird. Yeah, it always is nice too, because especially when you're doing that within like Ray's got his wife and his kid. I think 2. What's he got? 2 kids, I think.
No, 1 kid.
One kid.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're doing well like that, it is nice to just brag and flaunt in your wife's face. You know what I mean? Not in a bad way. Not in a bad way. But it's just very fun. It's very fun. There we go. It's very fun just to kind of, not in a negative way, but to just kind of strut your stuff and just do that. It's just very funny.
Yeah, well, you got to take inventory.
What's up,
man.
Kings?
We're talking about flaunting your success in your wife's face. Respectfully. But just like letting her know you're the dude, and just being like, yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, dude, I hate it. I hate the way it is. I hate the way we're wired. But yeah, we've been making babies like 3 times this week, and I think it's because things are going well with the job.
Yeah,
I wish it weren't so.
Well, no. Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. I will say, yes, I know what you're saying.
Like a savage, unemployed lover or whatever.
It's true. But the funny thing is, it's like, I mean, how much of it is truly the financial outcome versus the extra pep in your step and the gusto?
It's absolutely not financial, because these are deals like that. Like I'm waiting for payment and stuff, but it's just like it's the self-confidence, it's the mojo.
It's the spark, it's the mojo, dude. It's the immaterial force that's kind of, that is the attractor for such, in my opinion. I mean, the other things definitely help, don't get me wrong. But like if you get the mojo going, and that's kind of all this is about. You kind of get your balls rolling, you're doing the things you should be doing for like a long enough period of time where they start paying off and the mojo starts to flow. And that's the secret sauce.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like the benefits of the scorecard, the micro habits, they accrue right away. Like, you eat healthy right away, you start getting better sleep. You do a little bit of exercise every day, right away you get more energy. But it's really amazing how after a year, or like after 6 months or a year, big gains happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Right. Like I said, like I went from selling 150 grand worth of sales in a year, and I thought that was a success, right? Then I did that in a month. I thought that was a success. Then I did it in a week, and I thought that was success, and it was success. But then I did it in a day, and it I don't think it could have happened without the scorecard.
Yeah.
It could have. I mean, luck could have happened without the scorecard, but luck is the combination of opportunity and preparation, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That's the cliche. So, and Wes. So the thing is, so my clients agreed to buy a $150,000 painting by an artist. I'm not crazy about the guy. He's the guy who did the cover art for Appetite for Destruction. That kind of weird
Guns N'
cartoony
Roses.
stuff. Yeah. And classic album. And but this is an artist I never met, and the studio manager I've never met. So down in LA. So I think the best thing for me to do is like take the $150K from the clients into my escrow account, fly down to LA, make sure the painting's legit, and then if it's in good condition, then do the wire transfer.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
It might cost them a couple extra bucks, but like this is the biggest transaction I've ever done with a stranger on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
Like biggest transaction I've ever done, period. Plus, it's just like a bunch of emails.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so, like, just to make sure this isn't like a Nigerian prince kind of scam or something.
Mm-hmm.
I would agree. I think that's.
I'm gonna ask.
Sorry.
No problem. But like the problem is like, I'm debating whether I should ask them, hey, like, it'll cost you a little bit more in terms of like me billing them for this expense, right? Because it is a work trip. But I mean, if I go see Wes and we do like a salsa class or something, I probably shouldn't be. I won't be posting it online, I guess. But so yeah, I mean, like I'm wondering whether I should just gobble the cost because I'm going somewhere nice.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I feel, and this is what I think. I feel like that's something you can tack on up front, so, like, especially if it's a bigger transaction. Like, here's something I also offer. I don't know. I feel like it's a great idea, and it all depends. I don't know what your commission is, so it's like I hear you, but like
it's 10%.
Oh, tight.
Yeah,
that's up to you, man. That's up. How do you think they would react if you're like, hey, by the way, I can also, because at a certain point, then they might just be like, wait, this isn't secure. What do you don't know this guy? Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
So I don't know. I personally wouldn't like, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't be like, hey, by the way, I can also secure. I would say, hey, I'm coming down to secure it. Blah blah blah. Here's what I'm gonna do. That's the white glove touch, in my opinion. If you were to be cover my trip, they're gonna be like, I'm sure they can. Obviously, they bought a $150,000 painting, but it's like they might just be like, all right, dude, But if it's like I'm coming here, I'm white gloving this whole thing, they'd be like, damn, it's the rules. So that's my opinion. I don't know. Wes, what do you think?
Yeah, good question. So I could tell you what the all-star or alpha would do in business. I don't know your business well enough, but I would imagine the top guy in your business has the client pay for the trip. That's what I would imagine. But it's part of his DNA at that point where he can say like, oh yeah, by the way, like here's my invoice, and he won't blink an eye.
Word.
You're muted again. You're muted.
It's all right. It's getting boring. There's like he's talking about like graphs and stuff.
You're muted.
No, we can't hear anybody. No, but that's absolutely. What are you saying? Can you hear us, Wes?
Can you hear us? No, he's coming back.
Okay, we could have really roasted him there. But and that's the challenge for me, right? Because it's my first big transaction with them. I don't want to risk it, but then I also want to. I don't want to fake it till I make it, but I want to maintain the trust, and I don't want them to turn down the power on the money fire hose. Yeah,
and I do hear what Wes is saying. There is a way you can kind of unblinkingly go about this, especially with this level of clientele. Of be like, oh, by the way, I'm going to cover it. I'll just invoice you for the trip, and we'll come down and do all that. I don't know, man. It depends on the person. It depends on the person at that point, because they might just be like, all right.
Yeah. Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you now. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So what I was saying is the alpha in the group will always invoice and just he will already consider it to be assumed that they're paying for it.
Yeah.
But in your situation, if I were in your situation, I would not do that, because right now that is your biggest transaction you've ever done. It's so fragile that that there's always a chance that could not happen. In fact, this just happened to me, and I wanted to murder someone, and
right,
it was
Wes, it's not done. It's my biggest transaction in process.
Yep, exactly. So what I would do is I would skip the alpha stuff for now, because when you get that, and I'd fucking walk to California if you needed to, right? Like, to get the transaction done, because then that will give you a level up in your mindset, and you'll have the story, and then you're a new person after that. I think that's too much to risk by playing the alpha. And just so you know, once you start getting into like alpha territory, there's going to be a period in time where you have to commit to no longer doing, right? Like, I'm no longer a servant, right? I'm the coach, and the coach does not go and get your water. But right now you might have to go get the water. But when you become that coach, you're going to have to let a few clients go, because they say, well, no, I want you to be the water boy. I want you to be the towel boy. I want you to be all this stuff. You say, okay, good. Go to the lower cost provider down the street. I just personally don't feel like you're there yet.
Right. At some point, I need to get to the architect level and not be laying the bricks, just to put in more of Matt's language that he can understand.
Yep.
Right? Yeah, well, it's also
sweeping or whatever,
It's pushing the dust. Well, it's also I feel like you can communicate that up front. Like, you can tell the story as a whole part of like, yeah, we've had a large transaction and I had to go out there. And typically, if that's the case for larger transactions, I have a whole thing where I'll come out, I'll verify, I'll wire, but that'll obviously be a small fee to cover my expenses for travel. But to tack it on in the end is like, because the only thing that really sticks out for me is like, hey, I want to make sure this is actually legit. They're going to be like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Right. Okay, so yeah.
They're not going to like to hear that. They're going to be like, what?
Yeah, well, and you could position that, if that's one of the concerns, you position that as like, okay, one of our standard operating procedure is I always personally fly out there to double check it for you, so that way we don't waste time, like all that stuff.
Right.
Now, right on the client side, what I would also do is like, I would check where you're at in the intimacy curve, because it seems like you're lower in the intimacy curve with them. It seems like just a handful of emails or whatever. You want, in my opinion, it's kind of similar to online dating. You want to escalate the relationship by texting, if you're not texting already, and then a phone call, and then a FaceTime to mitigate your risk of the Nigerian prince sort of risk.
Oh, in terms of when with the vendor.
Well, all parties involved.
Okay, yeah. So so maybe what I'll do is I'm just gonna like inform the client of the procedure for a purchase this large. They will deposit it in my account. I will fly out there. I will meet yours, and then there's also the added benefit of like, this is the husband's favorite artist his whole life, from when he used to read Mad magazine or Heavy Metal magazine or one of these kind of things. And so I'm going to sell it on the like creating a relationship with the artist to secure better work at a better price in the future. So there's like a value add for them. I won't bring up the cost, but I'll just alert them that this is the procedure going forward.
Oh, for sure. And you can even say, like, you can even fake the funk and be like, typically when we do transactions of this size, people like that. It's like kind of a subtle ego stroke. Like when we deal with people at this level and they're like, oh yeah, I'm at the top level. You're here's what I typically do. You can even go like, since this is your first transaction, I'm going to forego the cost of my trip, but typically this is what we blah, blah, blah. And they might go, no, I'll cover it. You say, oh, okay, cool.
Right.
But like, but it's like, what Wes is saying is true. What Wes is saying is true. At one point, you have to just be like, boom. And they're like, what? And you're like, because especially at that level, though, they don't like to be, I don't know. Sometimes people who are super rich, and Wes, back me up if this is true. It's really weird because some of them can be like the cheapest people I've ever met.
Sure.
And then some of them are just like, oh, here you go, no problem. Of like getting an invoice and like, oh, of course you billed me for this, no problem. So,
they're cheap with some things and flamboyant with others.
Yes,
it seems like the same philosophy does not apply.
It's crazy.
Yeah, well, that's because the whole cognitive dissonance thing, right? Like they want to be congruent with the identity that they want to be congruent with.
Yes.
So, they'll be driving around a Rolls Royce, but then they'll say, well, like, I only buy jeans that are $20. It's like, okay, yeah, I'm sure the jeans is what's really keeping you rich, right? Like, but that's the story, right? That's the story that they want to play in their head. Now, right, in those types of transactions, you have to maintain an alpha position, right? Like, do not take the bait of the frugal multi-millionaire, right? You just say, okay, good, like, then this is not for you. Right. Yep. And then the way you do that is you lay stories up front. So you pre-frame everything. What Matt's saying is actually spot on, right? Like, hey, in larger transactions, you don't have to lie. You just say, like, in larger transactions, this is their operating procedure. And then, I would throw it out there as well. Like, for our first transaction together, I'm happy to eat the cost. And then it gives them, you can pause a little bit and give them the ability to say it back. But that's what I would do. I would also consider, can you upsell anything else? So for instance, like when you sell a piece of art, if you're already going to be going down there to the artist or wherever you're going, is there value in having like an interview with the artist or on these three people, like with you, the artist, and the buyer? Is that like a thing in the art world? I would imagine
like a FaceTime call.
Yeah,
FaceTime, Zoom.
Well, I was thinking in terms of value add, what I was going to do is I was going to buy one of his like big, it's called a catalog, but it's not like it's a coffee table book of the artist, and bring it with me when I meet him and get him to sign it for the collector. So I arrive with the painting, and then I'm like, like Columbo, oh, I almost forgot. And I bring up this gift that is like to collector.
Yep.
Welcome to the family.
Nice, man. Yeah, I wonder too if you introduce, is that kind of like a thing that you want to kind of stay middleman in, where like if you introduce it to, can they just cut you right out of it then?
Yeah, I suppose that is a risk, but again, maybe Wes can talk to this. Like if I'm adding so much value, it is absolutely a risk, Matt, and especially because the wining and dining is like a big part of the experience of being an art collector, right? Galleries definitely want to want me to bring them a client and then just for the first transaction and then just like cut me out of their future transactions, right? To keep their margin high.
Gotcha.
So that is a risk. But I suppose, Wes, there's a way of like building a rapport and a relationship that extinguishes that risk, even if it's free for the taking.
Yeah, if you, and this can be extrapolated to all different types of relationships. If what you're hanging on to is just that, oh, I know this guy and you know this guy, then your value is relatively little, right? And any marketplace, especially now with the internet and just the streamlined communication. So yes, it's what I always tell clients who are in business is better not to be better to be different, right? So like you don't just want I'm slightly better here because I know this gallery over here. That's just slightly better, right? It's like better not to be better. So you don't want to be competing in the better category. You want to be different, right? So I offer this, and this. I'm in a category of one, right? So that way they always go to you. And then you implant stories. This is why I tell people all the time, write out what you want to have happen and write out your presentation. And again, same thing in relationships, doesn't have to be about business, right? Like write out your script so you can start to plant stories in there, right? That will get people to associate pain to going around you, right? So for instance, there was this guy last week, last year, I connected him and he thought he'd go around me, and then all of a sudden he got a painting. He paid 40% extra for it, where I saw the painting and number one, it was fake, whatever, right? Like there's stories where they say,
and that I do have direct experience with that, with a collector who's a family friend who I brokered a deal, and then they started taking calls from the gallery directly, and the gallerist went and stayed at their house on the weekend, and he ended up selling them sculptures that are for the inside only, but he told them they could be put outside, and they all rusted, and it was and it was just in service of just trying to save a couple of bucks. You know what I mean? It's like sweating the small things.
Yep.
And that's, dude, I totally agree, man. I think that's such a good thing to have just built in. And it is literally a true story. So then you can kind of nail down, and it's also one of those things dude, if you know a lot about art, then yeah, you could totally cut me out of the equation. But, you bank on people being you just tell that story, and it's but here's other things that happen. It's just, I don't want to see people get screwed over because. Yeah.
And also just to extrapolate it more broadly, I have to, at some point, I think I have to have the confidence, the self-confidence to put myself in a position where they could cut me out. I have to know that that I'm the best, and that I'm giving them so much more than just a Google search of artists, and that I guess in a way it's a balance between not worrying about that, but also having the right procedures in place so that it doesn't happen. So I don't procure that.
For sure.
Yeah.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah. This is why, in my opinion, you have to be committed to being the best in your field. If you have that commitment, say, I'm going to play this game for at least another 25 years, you now have the canvas to draw on, where you actually have the mobility to say, okay, I'm going to go into each little specific area. I absolutely love education-based business. Right, knowing more than anyone else in your industry, and then you capture that information, put it onto video or put it on whatever, right? And now you have, for instance, I don't know what that would indoor art sculptures versus outdoor sculptures. Oh, okay, Mr. and Mrs. Client, you have questions on that? Let me send you my 10 video series.
Mm-hmm.
Who the hell else can have a 10 video series on that one particular topic?
So
if anything comes, exactly, right? If anything comes up, you are the authority on it. And then you put a lot of all the stuff we talked about, put urgency, scarcity, appeal to authority, reciprocity, et cetera, and you'll be golden. You'll be absolutely golden. And at the end of the day, always remember, we talked about, fast beats free. So if you're the guy that can not only educate them, but then you can do it for them faster than any other competitor could do it, right? Then they will pay for that. Most of these people who can afford paintings do not want to be flying around the country. They do not want to be doing that stuff. They want somebody else to be doing that.
Right. And so, Wes, if you try to be the best you can possibly be, your niche is finance, mine is art. Matt, what is your niche? What do you do?
I would say it's just creating content, specifically for entertainment / and that right now I am genuinely split between doing entertaining content versus psychoeducational, but I would just say creating content, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Can I throw something out there?
Mm-hmm.
So Matt is, in my opinion, the perfect example of where economics is going, which is traditionally in our lifetimes, economics was Adam Smith, Wealth of Nations, specialization of labor. You're a plumber. Right? I don't want to know you in any other way except for that you're a plumber. You fix things with plumbing. But now, because of the internet, you have these experts who are front-facing here, but the internet allows you to get to know them in every tentacle of their life. Think Joe Rogan, right? Joe Rogan, I don't know that I've ever would have watched him in stand-up comedy, maybe never even heard of him. But now, since he has this podcast, this is another node in his in his personality. Oh, his podcast, and then he gets the chance to expose me to his comedy and vice versa. Mm-hmm. So Matt is representative of one of these sort of octopus style value creators that the internet has given us the opportunity to experience.
Right, and so and each one has the opportunity to pollinate and grow the other.
Great word. I'm gonna write that word. That's a great word.
That's kind of, it is a great word. That's kind of what I'm going for. And the thing I struggle with for a long time was like figuring out exactly what I want to do and how to spend my day. And the real problem was the fact that I just wasn't disciplined to like put in the work in projects and see projects through. And now that I can do that, it makes things a lot easier. But yeah, man, that's kind of that is the goal of just like, again, continuing, just securing my like own independence through like creating content from a variety of sources that people find useful or entertaining or whatever. So.
Yeah, and you struggled with the word entertainment or entertaining earlier for a few minutes ago, but like I think part of your value is like Wes. I mean, just to riff on Wes, what Wes just said, you've got your stand-up comedy is, you can just say, strictly entertainment, right? And then your social work is strictly therapeutic. But the videos that you've created on mindfulness and logotherapy are this kind of hybrid of the two, right? Where it has to be entertaining in order to keep our attention, but it has to be therapeutic in order for us to get a kind of a deeper value from it. Right, and so it seems almost as if Wes, he doesn't have two nodes that pollinate each other. It's a kind of he's kind of created a separate one.
Yeah, no, I think Matt is spot on. It's a trend that's happening more and more. It's still in its infancy, but I can see it widely in the internet right now, and it's freaking brilliant. And I think a lot of these people don't even know what they're doing, right? They're just like saying, hey, like I've got something, I want to do this, and I think it'll produce value, so I'm going to go and try it. But if I had to analyze the pattern, it's that.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that, man. But yeah, it's that is the thing. I have been kind of not even negging the entertainment side of things. Like, it is fun to do. It's cool. It's just like there's just parts of it I just dislike around a lot of the personality stuff that gets involved with it. I just, in dealing with other entertainers, it makes me genuinely uncomfortable, especially ones I don't know. But I will say the skill set is, it's wildly useful. Like if, say I did get into kind of like more of the psychoeducation space or whatever, I'm able to go talk to a crowd, and I know how to entertain them too, rather than, so it's
and
like
storytelling, like Wes's favorite word, right?
Yes. No, and it's true though. It's a powerful thing.
You got your 10,000 hours or maybe 60,000 hours with storytelling, which is like according to Wes, is like the most transferable skill across any industry.
Without doubt. There's no doubt about it.
It is, man. So it's like, I'm very pumped with everything that's going on. It's like, again, I need to just etch out more hours in the day. But it's going well. So and everything else is going well too with the family and stuff. So it's like it's like one of those things where I want to like do more and more and more, but I have to take care of the fundamentals with the family too. So so I'm just waiting until I can work like an 8-hour day every day. I would love that.
But can you? Like I don't know if I'm wired that way.
True.
Like my wife walks by that office and like, I'm meditating, with my eyes closed and my mouth open. Or like she'll hear the guitar plucking from upstairs, and like she's like, that guy is taking another day off in the middle of the week. But the thing is like, I think, and I'm wondering if just the way I work is like an hour on, an hour off, 2 hours on, 2 hours off. You
might be right about that actually. I kind of agree with you with that. And it's like, it's just finding that rhythm. I totally agree. Like I said, my split's more between just like this is the exact problem. Not even the problem. This is my perceived issue is doing strictly entertainment work. I'm trying to figure out a way to do it that doesn't kind of separate you from your family too much, because that seems to be the cost of it. Like to do it at a high level, that seems to be kind of non-negotiable. And I don't want to do that. Like I genuinely don't want to be away from my family. So. So I'm figuring out ways to kind of do that, so it's not like detrimental. I'm still doing it, but not like to the point where it just becomes like I'm just gone. Like I just, that's something I just can't stomach. So that's like my hesitancy with that. Whereas other stuff I can be home and do it, and so. But so it's good though. Like I said, it's good, and I'm excited to just continue on with it and just see where it goes, and keeps just sticking to the fundamentals, man. It makes the decisions really easy when you have your values in place. You just go along your values and let the chips kind of fall.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And I think now, Matt, more than ever, obviously with the internet, it allows you opportunities to make that happen.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If you were an entertainer in the past, you had to be on the road. There's no other way about it. But now with the internet, I mean, it's literally, the opportunities are endless. It's pretty crazy.
It is cool, and I'm telling you, and that's the thing I constantly talk about and think about, is a lot of the pushback is internal, and it's internal and self-generated. So it's like getting over that is like one of the biggest and I think best things you can do for yourself. So
yep.
Yeah, man.
Without a doubt. Cool. Awesome. Well, Ray, congratulations, bro. That's fucking awesome to hear, man.
Thank you,
dude.
Wes. I couldn't have done it without my dogs and your leadership, Wes, and your leadership, Matt. And like I said, these are gains that accrue in the long term that feel like luck or feel like happy accidents, but it's just from like showing up for myself every day for almost a year now.
Yep, man.
Oh yeah. I mean, just remember, like, it's the same stuff over and over and over and over again. Usually my answer to people is like, oh, don't do anything different, just do more of it, and then as you get into different leagues, like when you're in Little League, you're swinging a bat. When you're in Major League Baseball, you're still swinging a bat, but the stage is much bigger. So that bat swing, when you hit a home run, is that much more dramatic in terms of its reward, but it's the same fundamental movement. Just keep on doing it. So like, I guarantee you keep on doing this, man. You'll be in a stratosphere that will be unrecognizable a year from now. I promise you.
Right on. I'll send a note. I'll see you soon in LA, Wes.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Well, I got that car. Do you want to purchase the car anymore or no?
Yeah, I do. And I'm sorry, but like,
that's okay.
My wife's right there, so I'm gonna say no, I don't.
Yeah, we'll chat about it offline.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
Yes, I'm coming for that fucking car.
Dude, real quick, who dude of the week?
I nominate John Walter. He he met a girl on a plane or at the airport. Went out and visited her across the country.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
And if John Walter's in the chat, I'm sorry for breaking your anonymity, bro, but I was just so happy for you, so proud of you. And there's like, because like we did a scorecard this week where it was just him and I was driving out to meet a collector an hour out of town, so we couldn't do the meditation and the exercise. So we just talked. Here he is. Yeah, he met her in the airport, went to visit her. She's coming next week. It's all interesting. I'll stop being so humble, dude. This is killer. And like, I guarantee, like, if and I want to give some of the credit to the dogs and to the scorecard, which is just like jet fuel for self-confidence.
Hell yeah, man.
So if I can do a golden buzzer, you guys, I just want to give John the dude of the week for crushing it and making it look easy.
I can't go against it. There it is.
Mr. Walter, you've been anointed, my friend.
And if we can bring him on next week, maybe he's like,
for sure.
He's got an interesting dilemma where he's like, he's doing work that pays the bills, but he wonders if he should take the risk to do something more spiritually fulfilling.
That would be
the kind of thing we talk about a lot.
So, that would be fantastic.
I think if we can get him on next week.
Yeah, that'd be cool, and I'd love to dissect his interaction with that girl on the plane. Like, what did he do?
So good,
what did he say?
So good. Like, I was clinging to every development. It was like watching Bachelor in Paradise, dude. It was so good.
Well, dude, that's fucking. That's what's up.
I don't want to even ruin the surprise. There were so many ups and downs.
Damn, that's exciting. That's exciting.
Trailer.
Yeah. All right, so John, come on next week, and
all right, dude.
Have a great Labor Day weekend.
Oh yeah, forgot about that.
Wear those white jeans.
I got them.
And
busting them out.
See you next week.
All right. Later on.
Later, dude.